Welcome to Echo News. We broadcast reverberating across the globe. My name is Jackie Johnson, and we have in the studio Macmillan, all the way from Italy. This is a special broadcast on behalf of Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, who is the aspiring governor of Anambra State. And I'm glad you are watching. We are going to ask various questions from the governorship candidate of ZLP, and fortunately, he's here with us in the studio. It's my pleasure, sir, Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, to welcome you to News Echo today. You're welcome, sir.
Johnson, I'm happy to join you from Nigeria.
Yes.
In the capital city of Anambra.
We are very glad that you can join us today, and the people will want to know you, especially Nigerians in diaspora. We want to meet with you, and we want to know who you are and why you are coming into politics. Definitely, you have been introduced as doctor, and we know that you have a PhD in political science from Russia. Sir, can you tell us a bit of your background? We saw that you hail from Anambra State, but the people would like to meet with you. Can you tell us a bit of yourself, sir?
Yes, as you have said, my name is Obiora Okonkwo. I am a native of Ogidi in Anambra State. Ogidi is the capital of Idemili North, the biggest local government in Anambra State, with illustrious sons like Chino Achebe and others, born all the way in Gombe, shortly before the war, and had my primary education in my hometown, and then proceeded on nature, where I did my secondary education and the later part of my primary education. And from there, by the special grace of God, a child of a humble family, hardworking mother and father. And then I had the opportunity for scholarship to study in Russia. Had my first and second degree in economics, People's Friendship University, Moscow. And then my PhD in Russian Academy of Science, Institute of World Economy and International Relations. And I came out with a PhD in political science. But my humble beginning started from Ogidi, and then in between, where I had also experienced living with my father in nature.
I believe that the effect of the Russian study on you. We know that socialism is their way of life there. How has that impacted you, and how will you impact Nigeria with that kind of ideology?
This was not about ideology. I went to an international university. In this international university, you have students from all over the world, more than any university in the world. So it was more of an open, philosophy university. But more or less, I came out of that country with strong patriotism trait, creativity, because all the education in Russia was about discovering yourself, being creative, and also saying no to nothing. You don't accept that anything is impossible. So these are the reasons why living in Russia and coming into this difficult economy in my own private engagements, we have also been able to get to certain level of success. So all around me is about my training in Russian, and obviously with a strong garnishing of my cultural, ethical, and then strong religious philosophy. This really together form what I am of today.
Thank you, sir. Our in-house researcher did a great research on you and shows that you are a businessman, and you have been in business even from your secondary school, and that was how you balanced your life till you went to study. Having been a successful businessman, number one, can you tell us what were the things, your principles that made you successful, outstanding? And number two, why do you want to go into politics?
Well, my principle in life is based on my religious background and cultural values, which is integrity, integrity. Parents would always tell you, good name is better than money. So for whatever you may achieve in life, without integrity and family reputation is worthless. So that has guided me in all I'm doing. And then the belief religiously that for all we do on earth, it should mean nothing if it does not translate to you entering the kingdom of God. So that's on the other part. But having been a successful businessman, from your own assessment though, I think that what I'm bringing to governance is a private sector experience. That private sector experience is highly needed in the governance. A state like Anambra, where you have a whole lot of entrepreneurs, businessmen, rallies, who are quite successful and industry leaders in their own sectors. But you see, in governance, we haven't really paid so much attention to that. For that reason, it has been opened up to other people who may have failed in so many other areas of life and only see politics as a recovering area. So for me, I think coming into governance with private sector experience will bring about agency, will bring about courage, will bring about creativity, initiative that's required, and integrity, of course. And then with all this, we are really going to religiously implement every point of 10-point agenda we have with the aim of evaluating the results, so the impacts are made, on everybody and nobody with an exception.
Thank you very much. The Nigerians in diaspora would like to hear a bit of your 10-point agenda, because we've seen politics in Nigeria where people just come out, try and grab power without telling us what they will do. We have listened to Peter Obi, ex-governor of Anambra State. Obiano is leaving, and now we have Obiora. And so we imagine all the reviews that governor of Anambra State. But on this occasion, we want to hear part of your 10-point agenda so that we will really know what you are bringing to the table in the very, very important state of Nigeria, Anambra State.
Well, I have been a diaspora at some point, so I can understand the sentiments and the feelings over there. And in my own private capacity, I've also been instrumental to so many diasporan investors in Nigeria. So that's why, in my own 10-point agenda, we articulated clearly a practical and people-oriented programs that has special consideration for the diasporans. And one of the cardinal points is what we call diasporan engagement. I am aware that Nigerians in the United States may have been generating income of about 40 billion US dollars. And when you add it to Nigerian, UK, Asia, and all, you might be getting about 60 to 70 billion. And diaspora repatriation in Nigeria is probably second to Philippines, where we got over 20 billion US dollars. And out of that, I think we should be having about 40% being Anambrarians. So for that reason, the engagement is such that we should recognize the economic power of the diasporans, the technical knowledge there, which is really needed for rapid development in Anambra State, southern region in particular. So we're going to establish a special Ministry of Diasporan Affairs, where we should be engaging the diasporans all over the world where they are. And we're going to open liaison offices, cultural centers, to create platforms to bring them closer to Nigeria in terms of activities. We're not asking them to relocate and come home, because the world is not a global village, but it's just about think-home policy. Because we believe that with the security situation in Nigeria, you can only get investors who will come and put their money here with special relationship, with special sentiment. This is my home. This is where I must have to put something. This is a governor who is credible. So with that, we should be able to create an enabling environment for them to be able to invest, not only to invest financially, but also to come home and impact the knowledge they have acquired overseas. I would engage some of these people we are targeting before this program. They made contribution and inputs to our manifesto 10-point agenda, and they are ready to come. For instance, those in the healthcare area, they are going to bring in their own resources to set up tertiary hospitals in the 3 senatorial zones in Anambra State, and that will bring about health tourism. These are medical doctors who have studied in Nigeria to some extent, and some of them in the US, but that located to America. They are established properly. Second generation kids running their clinics, and they're about 60s and above, and they just can't imagine staying and living in the US, dying there, will make an impact. So that's settled. I know that they need an urban environment to be able to invest. That's where you come with the issue of peace and security. It is very critical and paramount in our own 10-point agenda. We believe that the best way to attack the insecurity, first of all, is do not only have to make all the necessary provisions in terms of technology, training of security personnel, we're also going to engage both informal arrangements. We have had community policing, not necessarily official policemen, but the vigilantes and all that. We're going to really deeply invest in them, increase the level of training, and then obviously for security to prevail, there must be jobs. So that comes to our other agenda, economic growth and jobs. That investment from overseas will bring about economic growth, and that economic growth will bring about jobs. And jobs will take away the youth from the street. And then when it comes about, we also have to look at it from different angles. Our ethical infrastructure has decayed. We believe that we need to reorient our people, because before now, obviously, there might have been harms, but it does not lead a lot of people to stealing, robbery, and criminal activities. We're going to work with all the religious scenes that are all over the state to start a reorientation of our ethical values. When that is done, you're probably going to have people who will know that no matter what the situation is, you just don't have to be criminally minded. So peace can only come when the leadership and government is free, fair, and justice to everybody. So I really think that with all this, when all this for economic growth to be meaningful, you need to have people with skill. That brings us to our education and human capital development. We're going to review a whole lot of our curriculum. Some of them are obsolete. It does not allow creativity. The essence of education is just not only to impart knowledge, but it's also to help you discover who you are. So we're going to look at some of these things. We're going to introduce skill education from secondary school. If you enter secondary school, you should not only have your certificate, but you should also come out with one skill or the other, which might be a talent, or which might be an impacted knowledge from the curriculum. We have also, as we are now, started dealing with all this. My foundation just signed an agreement, MOU, with the Celestian Fathers of John Bosco, that owe some of the best technical schools all over the world. They have recently in India trained over 500,000 youth in different skills. Some of them are jobs for export. So we're going to tap into their knowledge, we're going to tap into their expertise to be able to provide all this. We also believe that when the economy grows with these investments, infrastructures have to be looked upon. We need increased infrastructure investment. And that money cannot come from tiny little revenues, IGR, that people are only picking from race or from old men and women, or from the top in the little bit start things they pick up in Anambra. It can only come from huge investment. So we're already engaging the Russians, have confidence in us, and we have no doubt that if God pleases God to give us victory within the first 4 years, we still have nothing less than 10 billion to 15 billion US direct investment from Russia. They will come with not the investment, but also take. Yeah.
Very eloquently put, but we have to be very honest with ourselves. There are 4 main parties in Anambra State: APC, PDP, ABGA, and Zenith Labour Party. I want to seriously ask you, how do you intend to displace the other 3 parties so that the people of Anambra State will be hearing the ZLP, ZLP, ZLP? Because you're going to be facing the likes of Ludo if ABGA is easy. You're going to be facing the like of PDP and APC with the juggernaut federal government. How do you intend to displace the other 3, even at the campaign level, so that everyone will be hearing all these 10-point agendas you have eloquently presented before us?
Well, it is important to note here that I didn't start this race with Zenith Labour Party, ZLP. I started the People's Democratic Party, PDP. And obviously, if you have been following the political process, you would have known that before then, I was not in the race with anybody. I was coasting home to victory. I floored everybody in PDP, but due to some manipulations, and then I hands off and say, let God fight for us, and then move to Zenith Labour Party. So my personal person, my reputation, my capacity is quite known to people of Anambra State. So I'm still who I am. I only just changed the platform. So for that reason, I think those people in contention know that they are still facing me, the same Dr. Obiora Okonkwo that they know. So I really think that what we need to do right now is connecting my own brand to the party, and that's all. It's not going to be easy, but we think that we are working hard on it, and with the platform like yours that you've just given us, we hope that that will help. Then for the other parties, I pray for them that they come out of their problems, and then number of people today, they are not just looking for big parties, they're looking for somebody who has good pedigree, who has reputation and antecedents, because the problem is so enormous that they feel that most of these political parties have rather disappointed them. Are you talking about ABGA for 16 years that has not got anything to show it? Just like the Bible says, the tree that does not bear good fruit must be cut down. So that's the case of ABGA. So, but we are for PDP, obviously, if you follow the history, since my exit from PDP crumbled. And 80% of the PDP structure are still people who are loyal to me. So I don't think that's even a context. And for APC, well, they have to work harder than Zenith Labour Party in Anambra State to give people reason to vote for them. Though we're not preparing this election based on the weaknesses of our opposition. So we will win by strength. But again, I believe that it's only God who has power and who gives to whom he wants. We want victory that is from God, not from any godfather. Everybody knows in Anambra State that I am the only independent candidate who is not being imposed on the people by anybody. I want to go to Anambra State because my visions are clear, my opinions and intentions are quite genuine, and I believe that Anambra people want people like that because godfathers have actually of our state. So with all this together, it's going well for us. Zenith Party now is the rallying point for all those people who have seen that they have had enough of these big names political parties. for their injustice, for their unfairness, and for their inability to deliver on the electoral promise.
Okay, sir. I have my colleague from the city of London, former ambassador of Nigeria, Nat Yakwo. Nat is in the studio right now, and he may have some questions for you, because we want all the Nigerians in diaspora to be well represented. Now, Dr. Obiora Okonkwo has been answering our questions. Have you any questions from London?
I won't really know which question you have asked or you have not asked.
Go ahead. He will answer any question.
Okay, it's a pleasure meeting you, Dr. Obiora Okonkwo, PhD.
Your Excellency.
I like your broad smile, and I hope that...
Thank you. I'm happy to be with you.
Okay. I hope that smile will be translated to action in Anambra State by November 6, 2021.
Surely, you can count on that. Yeah.
Okay, thank you very much. Anambra State, Anambra State is like Edo State in some aspects, because when you speak of Anambra State, we are also speaking of the heartbeat of Southeast geopolitical zone, and we are
all right.
Okay, we are expecting that you are going to do what nobody else has done, and what could that be, especially in the telecommunication industry?
Yes. So his question, sir,
hello.
Is, what are you bringing exactly to the table, especially in the telecommunication industry?
Well, I mean, the telecommunication industry, it's under the Ministry of the policy. It's already an ongoing process with the federal government more or less has a dominance decision on the policies that affect it. But we will be looking at an economic integration of the old eastern states in what we should be. It should be attaching the interests of the other southeast states, river states, Edo states to form what we should call, we look like an economic union of the old eastern states. Yes, Anambra is cardinal. Anambra is the heartbeat of Igbo land, and the renaissance of Igbo land can only start from Anambra state. If we get Anambra state right, you will get the other southeast right. We have everything we need, which is the human capital. It's in abundance there. Our people are really successful in different parts of the world. So our role that we have to play that nobody has done is to be able to harness all these human capital resources, because I will probably be the only one who would have been a bridge between all those classes. And if you go to the academicians and intellectuals, I belong to that group. If you come to the entrepreneurs who are successful, I can be reckoned with. And then when you come to the grassroots, I am a grassroots. I'm really a homeboy. I grew up in this from, primary school. I was a trader in our nature with my father during my secondary school years. I know what the problems are, so I can bridge the gap and then harmonize and integrate and harness all these talent and human capitals for economic growth.
Yes, Peter Obi said gave money to Obiano when he became the governor, but it appears Obiano has spent all the money and will be giving you some debt if you win this election. How do you intend to pay off all the debts that Obiano has collected?
Well, I don't know about money that I gave to Obiano. Obiano should rather account for it if he did, or you should answer that question. But you see, I've always known that there is always a big problem between Godfather, the Godson. That is that as long as we're independent and nobody is our Godfather, but we have Father Almighty who gives all things. So we're just coming, I'm looking at Anambra from this point of view. If we are sworn in, I know the problems of the state. I don't want to look into the past. I would take Anambra as if I had just acquired a company that is run down and I paid for it $1. So I have the responsibility to revitalize it, to rebrand it, to recreate it, and put it on the growth pedestal. That's what I'm going to do in Anambra State. And you know, from that business, it has been done. You know, so that's what I'm going to look at, and we should be able to recreate, generate incomes, old debts, put a number on the growth. So that's what we're going to do. We appreciate it because I have a mantra, you know, that says, "Don't tell me about the storm, deliver the cargo." So I'm not going to come there to suck up about the difficulties and the debts and the problems of the past. We're going to come and hit the ground running. So thank God we don't have any godfather to fight to it. We only have to engage Anambrarians, agree on what to do, and we move on.
Okay, sir. We observe, rightly so, and we know that you have a PhD in political science. Therefore, we know that you must have come across Thomas Hobbes, who said that the major reason why the government must be there to produce two things: stability, that is security, and welfare. These two things have been two challenges that Nigeria as a whole is struggling with. You have told how you will help in the welfare of Anambra especially. Sir, how do you intend to stabilize Anambra security-wise? And I want to put into context as well all the challenges of no work on Mondays that the Southeast have faced in the recent times.
Okay, peace and security.
Yes.
Then social welfare and poverty eradication are really part of the cardinal points of the 10-point agenda. In terms of social welfare and poverty eradication, I believe that a responsible government should not only govern those who can work and earn salaries. There are a whole lot of population in this state who are either aged to be productive, or they are so sick to help themselves, and they are bound everywhere. Our government should have a clear social welfare program. And actually, within my foundation, which is called Pro Valley Humanity Foundation, for the past 3 years, we've been attending to this group of people. You know, Johnson, it might interest you to know that their next neighbor here in Anambra State might have been so sick that for the past 6 months, nobody had knocked on his door and said, "How are you?" He has no children, no grandchildren, no money, and just as little, he has never seen 2,000 that is together for him or her to help himself. He's sick, nobody can take him to the hospital, and yet you have government. That's so disappointing. So we have a clear program under our social welfare and poverty eradication. There's so much poverty in the land, we know. But you see, the SDG, Sustainable Development Goal of UN by this time, would have been eradicating poverty. It is amazing to see government who were still sharing Kekenapel, which was an instrument used for poverty alleviation. We're coming to eradicate poverty. We grew up not in a very, very, very buoyant environment, but we have struggled in our own individual capacity to overcome. We studied to the highest level, went to school. You might interest you to know I have first class in economics, first degree, distinction, masters, then distinction PhD, and then went into entrepreneurship, was able to at least a certain level succeed and continue to succeed. We need to wake up in them. So with that, I think we can deal with poverty, and that poverty will bring back our old cultural values, which is caring for your own neighbor. We look out for each other. Most people who are billionaires, they to school because of the help of community efforts and all that. So we're going to bring that back, that cultural value. That was what we have in our own agenda, which is rebuilding our infrastructure. Then come to security. I mentioned that earlier. Well, I think that I'm in a position to be able to square up security situation in Anambra State within 30 days. If we win the election on the 6th of November, we will give hope to the people who are hopeless. We will advise them to buckle up and be ready to follow our programs and initiatives that will commence the same day we are sworn in as governor. And that with that, with a serious warning that should you think of doing otherwise, it might not just all go well with you and the government. So I think really we know the problems. We will engage the boys. I don't believe in this shooting. I don't believe in this calling bad names, because I've been able to achieve this in my own little community. If you come to my community, which is so giddy, we have them. And I've been in the center of just harmonizing, bringing the sentiments, reconciling groups, and we have absolutely peaceful environment. You see, Johnson, you don't have peaceful environment because of lack of conflict. There is conflict everywhere. You only achieve that if you have the ability to resist conflict, solve the problem that is causing the insecurity and all that. Because they say that the only peaceful place actually you will stay without problem is the graveyard. And I think none of you want there just to written out this, right? So I think that we have the knowledge, we have the capacity, we have the reach to reach out and engage those people who are just engaging in it because they're hopeless. If any person should wake up, carry a gun, and ready to face an army who was trained just to kill and do nothing else, is somebody who feels that his life is meaningless to him. We're going to give hope to people. There's so much hopelessness. People just think they have nothing to live for. But I think by men mentioning of my name and taking the saddle, they will know that there is hope for them. And that will reduce the crime.
Thank you, sir. Let me ask my colleague in London, Ambassador Now, do you have any questions?
Yes. Dr. Okonkwo, I've been listening.
Yes, Excellency.
Yeah, I've been listening to you and trying to read in between the lines from what you are saying. Is it the challenge we have in Nigeria is really not? It's not technology. It is not IT. I think this is my personal opinion, and I hope you agree with me. The fundamental issue is the human capital development and our values. It is not the infrastructure. It is the what premium do you place on the human capital development? The level of poverty, the level of unemployment, the level of insecurity which you have addressed. So I don't know, how are you going to lift up the ordinary Anambarian to have that quality of assessing himself as a human being? Because we have lost the humanity in Nigeria, and I don't know what your comments would be.
Thank you. One of the key cardinal points of our agenda is revitalization of education and human capital development. I'm aware that our educational system will play a very big role in human capital development. There is so much theory, and does not leave room for creativity. People have to graduate from schools at different levels with skills and confidence, well equipped with what they will use to survive, even as self-employed persons are not only looking for white-collar jobs. I agree with you. Our values are part deteriorating and fading away. That is why we also have mentioned again regarding our ethical infrastructure. I take, for instance, the COVID period. So many people were in difficulties, and they don't know that really our social system is there. A lot of people were home, they had no access to job. These are people who feed on daily basis, and there was nothing ready to help them. So, and then neighbors now do not have that spirit of help your sister or help your brother. We're going to introduce humanity studies in all our schools, from secondary school to the university. Those places we can influence their curriculum, even from primary school, to know that, you see, people in need can also extend now. So the quality education we have to introduce is such that will help people to be equipped to have skill. Because even for economic growth, it may not necessarily be that there are no jobs, but there may be jobs here and there, but we don't have the prerequisite skill to engage in these jobs. Take, for instance, a good talent here, painting or carpentry job. Some people will prefer those who are coming from across the border, Cotonou and border. These people have gone to the technical schools and they're equipped and prepared for it. Even cooks, I know that we've been looking for quality cook to be around here in our hometown to cater for one or two things they're even hard to find. So why can't people attend such school? We're going to equip people with our new education curriculum, technical school system that will make them ready to fit the job and also add value and be productive. And then with the program we're going to introduce, with the Celestial Fathers of John Bosco, we're going to now use a platform of government to expand it to all the schools. And we will produce not only manpower for internal use, they should export. Anambra people are really very mobile. They can be anywhere for work. But this time we should be preparing them and equipping them more. So when they're coming to UK, where you are, they are coming as expatriates. It might interest you to know that I just had one of my towns guy about a year ago who was employed as an expatriate to work in the UK hospital for graphies and all that. So these things are still, many people are trained enough and qualified enough to get to that level of skill that they will require. So there are jobs here and there people can fill, but that skill level that is required. I'm an employee of level. Actually, I have over 1,500 to 2,000 people. And sometimes when you need certain skills in the job, it takes difficult to get them. And when you have to manage, you have to do a lot of training. So there are jobs here and there, not a lot, but there are still a few jobs people can grab if they're equipped and prepared for it. So I think that I feel you understand what I'm saying is going to be a priority project for us and is captured in our template agenda.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
There are two issues that are dominating the Nigerian political scene, and the two of them are affecting your good state, Anambra. These two issues are the open grazing. What is your position on open grazing when you become the governor? And number two, the federal government has put the waterways bill into the National Assembly, where the federal government wants to take over control of the waterways in Nigeria, something that has been given to the governors. So how are you going to tackle this issue? Are you in support of the waterways bill? We know that River Niger crosses on each and somewhere, and open grazing. What are your views? How do you intend to tackle this issue?
Well, for somebody who is creative and someone who was trained for opportunities, I really wonder why there is so much debate on this open grazing, because that in itself as an Igbo man, see a very good business opportunity. Ranching remains a very useful way of maximizing the product of the cow issues. When you ranch, you have better meat, right? You can produce more quality milk. You can also use all the other components of the cow if you do it in an organized abattoir for leather to make shoes, and then even the feces of the cow to use for manure and all that. I wonder why people are missing that opportunity. Thank God that the governors of the South region has taken a position and they have passed the necessary laws to stop open grazing. It does no good, not even to the herdsmen or to any other person. This modern time and age, when people are just looking for amazing technologies and engaging on national discourse on how to break the skies and then live in the when people are flying and going on excursion to the moon. Why should we be talking now? It's a mundane issue that I think that doesn't deserve any national discourse. It's a private business, and then people should be guided and supported to do this business the way it will even benefit and pay them more. So I really don't have any grudge about it. If I become a governor, and all those who are bringing the businesses of that into the state, we will do all that is necessary to maximize the benefit both for them and for the government. So, and then for the other waterway, Nigeria already has NIWA, and I think in the NIWA, in the Inland Waterway Agency, the act establishing that has stated clearly areas of responsibilities for the government to take control. And I have not seen the full details of this bill, but I would wonder really what else that is not working well, because NIWA has been an agency that has been existing and have been doing what they established to do. So if government wanted something more, I need to be better informed of what is contained in that bill. But I think that if you're talking about River Niger transcends beyond the Anambra state, and this is not like Anambra exclusive ownership. There is a federal interest that is for common good of people. I don't think anybody will object it. But I think that what is contained in NIWA, which I am aware of, Nigerian Land Waterways Agency, it is enough to give government what they require for their relationship with the water that passes across the state.
I believe that open grazing has become an issue. The waterways bill will soon take over the issue, because the federal government is seeking to control not only the water but the river banks all over the country. And the river banks are where the farmers get their crops, and in essence, the federal government will be in a position to take over all the fertile farming lands of Nigeria. And when that comes to the forecourt, we wonder how, as the governor, you may want to have that discussion. That's why it's on the table right now.
Well, I think that a reasonable approach to it is to govern for federal government to partner with the states to ensure that every policy that is of government should not affect the ability of the states to maximize those fertile land in quote they are talking about that is domesticated in their own territory. You can agree with me that the government has no business in farming. It is only a policy that is needed to encourage private sector to engage more in farming, and the government already has enough to deal with. Their hands are full. So I would, if I were part of the decision making or the discussion, I will be focusing on policy that will not affect government interests in those areas, but surely will not allow government to leave Abuja and come to riverine areas of Anambra State to determine who uses the land and all that. And besides, if we are short of land and we will have a little bit of water feel and the experience like they enjoy in Lagos, we have right to recover part of land even to build the water side. I know in London where you are, you do have a good feel of it. Water side houses and so, and these things obviously for a typical state like Anambra State that we are coming in with a great program for tourism. Waterside areas should be used for tourism, and we would like to have our liberty to do the needful there to help promote our tourism industry. So government should not just come and seize it. We're going to not even have enough resources to deal with certain other things that are very obvious of government responsibility than acquiring new lands and just do nothing with it.
Before we sign off, sir, we have many Nigerians in the Schengen country, and we have our colleagues in Milan who may want to ask you a question before we go. And the Nigerians in Schengen countries are many now. Our man, Mark Godwin, is in Milan. Mark, what have you got to ask the ZLP gubernatorial candidate?
Well, you have covered every topic, Sashago, and also Ambassador Nat has done some good questions too. All I would like to say is let our great governor to be remember that there are 17 million Nigerians in the diaspora that could be part of the progress of Nigeria. Now, out of that 17 million, there are quite number of Anambra indigenes. So look for ways to include them in your governance, and because like you are, most of these diasporans have great knowledge about the ease of governance and the ways of development. So adding them to your campaign, to your plans, and to your structure will be ideal. That's all I want to say, sir. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Ambassador Nat, do you have any other questions for Dr. Obiora before we go?
Yeah. I hope you haven't taken this question. Dr. Okonkwo, you know that
yes, sir.
A decent and well-managed elections is the life fire of any democracy. We have the problem of this electronic transfer of election results, because at the end of the point, the officer, the returning officer, announces anything he wants. But if the man at the end, the collection center becomes useless, because the election, the votes, the exact number of votes will be known. I don't know, and some state governments in Nigeria are already put in place conducting our election electronically. I don't know what your concern or your feel is about this.
Well, I am aware may not necessarily need an express law to be able to transmit their results. The issue of law of transmission becomes necessary probably when you have to go to court. But for transparency and the convenience of election, INEC has the equipment, and if the equipment should work for them, nobody will take them and arrest them for doing so. So, and I'm aware also that in the past, especially the Edo state you mentioned about, results were transmitted by INEC from those positions. So I really don't know why there is so much fuss about this law. So INEC should summon courage, exploit the maximized use of the technology device they have for this election, and then they will give them the expected result. That's my take on it. And then if it needs a backup law, for it to be legitimate in terms of other legal matters that arise after the election, I urge the National Assembly that has the responsibility to do that to reconsider their position. Anything that needs to be done to encourage and strengthen the transparency of our democratic process, I am in support of it. And then as of the advice given by our man in Milan, it's well taken up. And that is why I am engaging with Ben TV. Otherwise, one would have been wondering, why am I not dealing with the locals? It is because of the great premium we place on diaspora. And I believe that if we get Anambra right, if a typical man from Ondo, Sokoto will live in the US and London and China to make a living, and will make Anambra a conducive abode, that same person will rather want to be closer in Anambra to his hometown, right? So the government we're going to set up in Anambra surely should not just be government for Anambrans alone. It is for both Nigerians and even foreigners who will find Anambra a conducive place to do business, have value for their money, feel secured, and then and happy, make a happy living. So diaspora, Nigerians have very high premium in our pool. And that's why we're establishing again, we're having a brand new Ministry of Diaspora and Affairs. It probably has never happened before. And having been a diasporan, it's in my DNA. I know what is needed. I have to build the bridge and then and create the comfort for everybody.
I think this will go viral now. Just your last comment will go viral. The brand new Ministry of Diaspora by Governor Obiora Okonkwo, by the grace of God.
Yes.
17 million people have heard you. They will be asking you, yes, are you going to support diaspora voting? So we want to give you the last 30 seconds, Governor to be and ZLP representative. You have the last 30 seconds in this program. What else do you want to tell us before we close the program?
Well, I'm telling diasporans that they have been listening to this program, that I'm reaching out to you to let you know that I was once one of you. I enjoyed all the comfort overseas. I'm home now, despite the challenges and difficulties. We have no other country than Nigeria. We can't give up on our country. Be good ambassadors of Nigeria. Promote the issues that unify us rather than the one that bring a disunity. Nigeria may have different problems, but there is still strength in diversity. I think that's the greatest assets we have in Nigeria. Let us not just be armchair critics. Rise up, don't be docile. Support this movement for one of yours to be part of the government. We will create the enabling environment for you to enter Nigeria. I really think that if I have to take a personal decision, like most of you may have done, I can easily relocate to any part of the world and live comfortably and allow people to just manage themselves. But I've chosen to be here, fire it out, make the necessary sacrifice, because I see doing otherwise as going to have a comfortable presidential suite in a Titanic ship. I'm aware that when that ship sinks, nobody in that ship will be saved, just like you know the story of Titanic. So let us engage people back home. Let them know that you've listened to me, and if you think that we have something to offer, please convince them otherwise. You may not have votes, but you can influence people. Who can influence people? Who can influence people? And they'll listen to you with the reasons, because most people here vote not for the right reason, but for their pocket. And as of diaspora engagement and voting, I can tell you that if I become a governor and have a bigger platform to make things happen, I will personally champion the campaign to, as quickly as possible, pass the necessary law to ensure that we have diasporan voting. That's what I can assure you, amongst other things. So for me, looking for governorship of Anambra State is just a bigger platform to be able to actualize most of the life visions we have and leave legacy that will be more lasting. My personal achievements for myself, for my family, the estate, the account, it's not necessarily what will take me to heaven, but it's the life we'll be able to touch on a larger number. So that at the end of the day, when I'm gone, they will probably make it easy for my entry into the kingdom, which is actually a great ambition that I have now. Thank you very much for listening. Again, follow us on all our social media handles. You can Google us, you can get connected, follow our activities, help tell the world, and then you can also make your input. We're always open for suggestions and advice. Our should be an open door government that will be all-inclusive and people-oriented. Thank you very much.
That's how far we go today. Listening to the diaspora governor, wanting to have diaspora ministry, and there's no other way to put it that Dr. Obiora Okonkwo will be labeled the diaspora governor as from now. It's my duty to thank Mark in Milan, to thank Nat in City of London, and until next Wednesday, when we'll come back to another special program. My name is Shecky Johnson. God bless you all.